important here is make sure we are stay silent until the end, and I will answer all questions. And this presentation is going to be recorded just so you can share with your teams if you're not here today. And make note of all your questions at the end, and we'll review those once we conclude today's presentation. All right, let's go into the overview. So on here, and everybody can see the screen, correct? Okay, good deal. Again, we will be jumping into that trainer database again, which will be kind of what we started last time, seeing how that customer will be searched and or how to create one. Then walk through the wizard that we've talked about and how to create that account. And then you're going to understand some of the requirements that also show they're shown there that we have to put in there when you're creating an account. And also, after we get everything set up, we will actually purchase a membership inside the trainer. So that's going to be our overall guide for today. Now, last time you probably remember that we did a real basic search on a staff member like myself. You just did a search on a current member. Now, this time we are going to actually create that, and it will allow us to see how that wizard all works. So when we go through, and again, we will go through the slides first, and then we'll do it for real at the end. And I want y'all to have the visuals of the different screenshots that will allow you to think when you go through the process on the trainer database. So when we go into the last name file, we're going to put Bobby as the person I'm referring to as Ricky Bobby from the Talladega Nights. But we are going to use that as an example today. But when we go into search a last name, what is that? Well, today, in this case, there's not any record in there. So we're going to talk today, we're going to have that lesson of creating a whole new member of the family for Ricky Bobby. And again, we will do that in real time in just a minute, adding a new customer. Now, inside here, again, this is on the customer tab. And let me show you as well. There we go. So on that customer tab, you'll be able to search the last name for Bobby. And when you hit that new customer tab, it's going to create this step here with being able to add new names. Now, when we get through there, you're going to also see along the process that there's this little binoculars that you'll see here. The next your actual address of the person that you're putting in, that actually drills down further into a street number, street name, city, state, and zip code. Now, you do not have to do that every time, although when we see that when we start doing these on a regular basis, I want you to know exactly what that is for. Because when it comes down to, when it comes back down here to the residential, you can see that right there, that whole part of the binoculars, if you did click on that, you then get this. You don't necessarily have to do all that. You'll still be able to put fields just like this. So again, we put in Ricky for Ricky Bobby. And then also, when we get into the part about adding all the fields in, you're going to see that you'll have these little asterisks here. And if you put that in there where we had Bobby in there originally, but if you put an asterisk right there in that search, it's going to search for all items in the database. So if you don't know for sure which Smith it is, you can do a search on all names with Smith, and that will give you a list of everything. So you can put that in any field, and that will bring up the whole database to search. Now, when we look at the database, we will then put in all of our key things. And then we will add in our stuff here. The residential address will be your primary address for the account. That will be very important. Now, we look at the contact information. Now, that part is very interesting. When we do get this contact information, one thing that's different inside ActiveNET versus CenterEdge is that we have a cell phone field that allows us to do communications via text. Why that's important? Well, when you get down to that contact information, you will then see that in the asterisks, you'll also see here, these are required. So the asterisks serve as different things here. You do have one as the port of it, where you can put in different types of records, or you have that is like along the feed says that you have required to put something in there. Okay, so that's really important though to know that. So the asterisk serves two different purposes, and again that's here on the slide that you'll receive at the end. But again, just to know that whenever you do, when we go through these prompts, it's important if we want to have any kind of text messaging capability for programs, we need to make sure that all of our new folks that are coming through, that we add a cell phone number and get their permission that they would like to get text messages for updates. Very important part there. So you will have to make sure that this is engaged. Oops, let me go back. But yeah, you also want to, when we do put these in, you'll want to check to make sure that they can agree to receive these text messages. So just showing that part here, we then will put in their phone number in these fields. Again, also what's really important too, you will see also on the side here of which cellular service they are with. They will, again, if you, depending on which one they do, ask them that, you will be able to add in one of the things. So let's say Sprint, for instance. And if that's the address, this is where you'll put the email. Okay. So again, the email address is there, the cell phone, home phone. These are very important fields to make sure you can include in your profile. Now, you also, one of the things that we've noticed along the way is that they can also subscribe. And when we were designing all of our categories in ActiveNET, back when we were at the CVE room, we had areas where we created like a monthly group fitness or a trips and travel section. Now they can subscribe to those as well, where they can, any kind of updates that we send on those, they will get it as long as they have a cell phone for text messaging available. They'll get those in that as well as an email. Those kind of things will go out if they have those engaged. Okay, so that's really important too. You can also you can set categories to send subscription email or text, depending if they sign up for that. That's an important part that allows us to keep communications going. You then get down into the personal info with gender, birth date, and then general public is our general our category that we'll have automatically defaulted to. So those, again, you will have very, very important things. So like I said, going back here, the asterisk, again, serves, again, as a search as well as a required field. And again, again, you see these right here. This is considered a required field that we must select something for it. But like we said, we're going through the database now to see how all of that works. You then will select all of these different areas. And for instance, I'm going to do, and you can type in the fields as well. This works just as well as searching on the calendar. Okay. A bit younger, let me do a 74. So we put their birth date in there with another required field. One of the other things I think I mentioned to you all in the past is that we've got the ability to add silver sneakers information. This is considered an alternative ID. And really for the Summit, only the Summit, we programmed it to just show up on our terminals. So all locations will see this. But we can now add their stuff to the profile while we're building up, while they're building their customer profile for them during that registration. So again, you have that. That's also an optional field, as you see. So you can skip it if it has nothing pertaining to that. Emergency contact information, as you can see, this asterisk right here. So we do require to have some sort of contact information for emergencies, whether it's a spouse, another relative, whatever. Those kind of things are available to put in those fields. And then again, you can put in Mama Bobby, Mama, and the required fields. So again, contact information for emergencies, very, very important. And again, like I also say, it should not be the same contact within the household. But if it is, it is. If there is, but I mean, something that will need to go into that field at the end. So that's where that's located. And again, this whole thing that you see here is considered called a wizard, like you would see in any other online store. All those things will take you through the process. Same process here. You're just going down the line, and again, you'll be able to, just as long as you have all the fields in there, it will accept it. And now you get to the end of the wizard process, and you'll want to go ahead and save it. Oh, I'm missing something. Okay, so then it said missing last name. Oh, and that's what, yeah, that's right. That's going to probably be something we'll all get, okay, eventually. But this is the last name field right here, so you'll want to make sure to put last name. So first name, last name, then relation, just like that. That should fix the problem now. Perfect. Now when you look at the customer, now we've gone through that process of filling out a new customer profile. What's great about the next part is that you'll now see that the main point of contact is now in there, Ricky Bobby, okay? And you now can go back to the customer front page here when you look it up. There's Ricky Bobby. Now, remember all of the stuff that we talked last time. We talked about how the picture would show up. You have the ability to put the picture in. Let me back away a little bit. So again, you can put in all of the main contact information into the change of photo. You can put a photo there and all of those same tabs that we had from last time. All of those, again, in the previous videos, kind of explain how each of those sections work. But again, you will have all of the different family members listed here. Now, we can also add another family member too by hitting the manage family members, and we will see that as well. And I'll go back to that here in just a little bit. But with Ricky Bobby, it's really important that we make sure all of his information's in here. And we then, on the detail part of it, we currently don't have anything in there because this is his first time here. However, if we wanted to get a membership to go, we can do that. Now, one of the great things about ActiveNET is they make it very convenient to start anything from the detail tab, whether it's a class or a membership. And in this case, we're going to look at membership briefly today, just to kind of see how all that ties together. So first, we will hit the new membership part. We're going to search all the packages. Now, here's where that comes back in, that asterisk. If you want to search all the packages inside the system, you can then hit search. And you remember all those wonderful data sheets that we did back early on? Well, here they are. All of the memberships that we put together, they're all right in here and listed all there. And it actually is, we're in the first step of the 5. Now, you will also see at the top here, referring to that wizard, this is your order of where you're going to be filling out everything. So we're searching for the package, then we'll search the customer. Although we should have come up with Ricky Bobby since we just set up that profile. And then when the membership info, how long, and then the fees that'll go. For instance, we're going to start out here by looking at the Summit annual resident, 50 plus right here. When you look at this, you now have, because since we've already had Ricky Bobby set up, we can now look and it will confirm if this is the package you want. Now, also, one of the great things about it is, and we have not been doing, other than the Epic, I believe, nobody else has been doing the auto drafts. Now, we can get into the auto draft section just directly from here. If they wanted to do an auto draft, we can then select this pay in full when renewal due. And that will set up where we can put a credit card on and it'll just hit the card each year if they would like. Either way you want to do it. We haven't gotten there yet, but that's where it's going to come into play later on. But for now, this confirms for 1 year. Again, period is annually, so 1 year, we're going to confirm today's date until to April 9th of next year. And that's correct, so that's what we want to do. So we're going to go ahead and hit submit. Again, we have gone now through the membership information, confirm that. Now the assignment. Now, since we only have one member right now, which is Ricky Bobby, this is the only one we've got. You're also, because we set the parameters for those memberships, you will also see here there also are overrides. If by chance, now for training purposes, we will have these available to override. However, when we are live and we're wanting to check to make sure that people are of age or not, this is one of those things that will come up and let us know, hey, this person is below 50. We need to make sure, is this correct or whatever? Well, that's where, if you do need to end up overriding, that's where you would check it off. And we'll now then hit submit to move on to that last part of it. We now have a confirmation page of the fees. So we now have our Summit annual resident 50 plus for 205, the confirmation of his address, and it shows age and the number of months. Now, I talked to you about last time we had coupon codes. We can set coupon codes up for discounts that is available to us. Whenever we do, we can't, anytime we wanted to apply a coupon code for a special or something, that would be where we can enter here and applying it right there. You will also see the fees section confirming the fee for the membership, which is $205 in this case. We will now have the ability to make, we definitely want that $205 to be charged. So now that will move to the bottom section. If you need to add staff notes, you can also see that in here. You can either show if it is a return or something, you can, if you're canceling a membership, you can put that in here with more information that you want to do. Since it's not a cancellation, we're not going to do that. But if you did need to put any kind of notes, you can do so. And then there's customer notes as well that you can, again, notes that we'll add basically for the profile, and which again, staff notes for that, and then customer notes if they need to do, if there was any other information they wanted to have on their account, that's available as well. So again, those are in that wizard, you have the options to add these things before you check out. Very, very important to know. And then waivers, when we have the waiver part of it, you can kind of see, I know the trainer background's a little stuff, but again, you will see at the bottom here, agree to waiver for Summit. And again, you want to make sure to check that off and to make sure that that will solidify the membership requirements. We'll then hit submit. Now, if you remember back, probably about on the first presentation, I showed you a little bit about the receipt action. Now that is, and again, where we came from there, receipt is again a whole new transaction. One thing is also great, in CenterEdge, we were able to add all the items in the point of sale and then hit in process or in sale to be able to check out. This is very similar to that. When you look at this screen, you can then, if you wanted to get the membership, you could then go in and enroll another class if you wanted to. Now, you could do that. All of these things, again, ActiveNET gives you a lot of flexibility. It allows you to then, if you're done with that, if you're ready to add more stuff besides that membership before checkout, you can. And you can go in here and enroll somebody in one of the classes, or if you wanted to sell something from the point of sale screen, you could go right here. This is, again, this is kind of that confirmation page. However, you're not necessarily you don't have to check out directly right away. If it is the only thing you're doing, sure, you can go ahead and check out. You will have a lot of different things here. Now, notice that right here, we have this trainer site. Very, very important to know. And based on our background, we are in the trainer. But considering this right now is the only sale we're going to do today, just know that you can add other things in before you check out. Again, this is just your confirmation page before checkout. So we're going to go ahead and finish this membership out, and we're going to go ahead and hit pay. This is a very interesting screen, so please watch carefully. When you look at here, you have all of these different fields here, okay? You don't necessarily have to fill all this out. The great news is we're only dealing with Ricky Bobby right now, so we're going to select him. And then we can come on down here, and we're getting ready to start to do the payout process. So right now we have a balance of $205 that's due, okay? And one of the great things about ActiveNET is the checkout process is very, very simple. If we did by chance have a check, you will now, let me back up just a little bit. When you see this dollar symbol, you can hit the dollar symbol by any of these and put in the amount. Say, for instance, it was the check. You can actually hit the check for the remaining. You'll see that the balance has changed and has been converted now to the check side, because that's what if we want to use it pay by check, this is what we can do. And then you would enter your check number in here. If you were doing the cash side, same thing. You could switch this out. And let me go back here. I'm going to go back. Let me clear that. So yeah, and you can do the cash side. Or credit card is even as easy as credit cards too. And then again, you would be able to put the card information in here. And again, that's also, I believe we will have those terminals that will have the just like we have right now at the summit. It'll be very similar, where they will be able to enter their information as well. We haven't gotten to that point yet, but I believe that's how it's going to work. But if we're doing it manually, that will be, we will have to use we'll actually have to use the terminal pad and enter this information in order to be PCI compliant. That is very, very important for us to conduct business in a safe way. But again, all of these different things are available. Just know that $, though, is a very quick way to add the amount into each line. So if it is a check, you can do it by check, and all of these other options that we've got there. So now we're going to say, for instance, we're going to do the check option, and we put the check number in here. And now we'll be able to go down to the part where it says pay and finish. And now we've got ourselves a transaction. We'll see, let me back it up a little bit. I've added our new logo in here. I'm still tweaking through some things right now. I'm also working with ActiveNET on, you'll see at the top left corner that we've got that same logo up here. I'm working on trying to get on our public page the same way with dark letters, but I'm having a little bit rough time, so we're going to work on that. But this is the receipt, though, that you will receive at the end. It confirms, again, that the location of where you're at. So the Summit did the transactions, so the Summit will show up here. And then his contact information, Ricky Bobby and his address, the summary of the payment. It was done by check for $205 and check number next to it. And then just a summary as well. The membership, what's another great thing, the membership actually brings the barcode up as well on the receipt. That they were doing it online and went ahead and paid, and in order to issue the card, we would need them to bring that by to make sure that they were able, we would get them the card set up. But again, all of the membership pass will also be generated here as well. So we, again, if it was online, if we would decide to do one of those online, we probably wouldn't have this feature in here. But from our desk, we will have a generated thing where we can set the membership up too. And then again, showing the waiver it's been signed, and the final charges are here on the right-hand side. Receipt number and stuff will also generate as well right up here in the top right corner. At the end, you do have plenty of options when it comes to whether you want to, how you want to send it to them. Whether you want to print a receipt, you can do that, or emails. If they have an email on file, you can send directly an email from here with a copy of their receipt from today. And then there's that good old button called New Receipt. Same thing I was talking about before. If you wanted to start another transaction, you could do so directly from this screen. And what is it going to do? It's going to bring you back to that screen, to the pending receipt. So again, receipt again in this case is starting of a new transaction. You can start all over again and put something new. Now you'll also realize that we're probably still inside, I think we're still inside Ricky Bobby too. And if let me see, for instance, if I went to a sell a membership, let me see, I think it will, let me just look. This part I haven't tried yet to see if it stays on the same customer. I would think it would be, since we haven't closed out of it. Let me just see if just another one would show up. No, it does clear out. Okay. So again, when you finish that, basically when you finish that transaction, you will start all over again with a whole new customer. That's a good thing, because if you do need to do that. Now, like I said, I was going to slow down a little bit. Again, to cancel out anything, you just hit the cancel button right here to get out of it. And then going back here, you can close out the whole thing and get back to customers to start all over again with the database. As we went through today, now we come back to the screen. After we've done that membership, we now will have some new data. Now you'll see over here that we've got the part where we have an annual membership now. And from that screen, you can also renew it directly from here too when it comes that time a year from now. All of that stuff, all programs will be listed, the memberships will be listed, our rentals and reservations will be shown up if they have done that a rental through us. All of those will be coming through there. And then any of those customer notes and alerts that you did through that process of checking out, they'll also show up here. That detail screen is a very, very important screen just to get the latest information on that customer. Those are very important things. So if, again, You will see those when you come onto that screen. Now, we wanted to look back at one more thing I wanted to look back at before we kind of wrap up. Is that part about adding additional family members. Let me swing back here just real quick. Now, in that family tab, we came back earlier and said after we set up Ricky Bobby, we have the ability to add additional members here. This is where you can do that. And that button that you'll see on the far side is called Manage Family Members. And all these presentations going forward, when we're in whatever section we're in, I will have the button up here knowing where you're actually at on the banner tab. And again, like we're dealing with customers, the customer want to be here. When we start doing point of sale and the front desk type stuff here, we'll have that icon at the top as well, so you'll know which section we were working with. We'll do something real quick though. We'll do one more add-on to Ricky Bobby's account, just so you can see. There's that Manage Family Members as you see right here. If we click on that, we're going to then bring that back over, and there's that same screen that we saw before. We're then going to go in and we're going to go ahead and add a new member. Let me make that a little bit bigger so we can see. So we're going to actually add a new customer. So you could add, if there was somebody, another family member or another related family member that you wanted to add to the account, you could do that from an existing customer. Most of the time, you'll probably just add a new customer to the selected family, which we'll do in this example. And I'm just going to use Carly Bobby for this. The same information here. Again, all of our required fields are in place. A lot of this stuff will be the same since it's on the same family. Now, maybe an email address we'll add in there. Phone number we'll keep the same. Cell phone, add a new cell phone here. Okay, so then again, we have a lot of those information fields in there. Okay. All right, so now we will add that information, and now we're going to say save. Then you have your customer photo. Now that part here, you can then, if you're at the terminal, you'll have your cameras there where you'll be able to take a picture. So you'll take the picture, and then we'll take it for you, and then you'll upload it to the account. And once you're there, you're done. Now you see in here, after we got the information set, we now have both Carly Bobby and Ricky Bobby. Now you can also change if there was going to be somebody more wanting to get the information for the family. We can change these head of households around if you ever wanted to. If they were at their request, we could certainly do that. And if there's a family member that needs to be, again, another addition, you can come right back here and add another customer anytime. But again, if you needed to add other customers, you can do that. But that is how you set up a customer, you go to the wizard, and you then set up to do a checkout. In this instance, we did a membership today, and we're going to continue to do these as we go. But just to see it all put together, that's how all of that works. Okay, in closing, today we walked through the wizard of how to create an account. We then were able to see and understand some of the requirements shown. Again, that asterisk that you see, we had that black asterisk earlier that showed what was required of that wizard. And then you also had the asterisk that was in red about how to search a particular field for any member. If you want to see all members, you can do that asterisk and search anybody. So there was two different ways of looking at an asterisk. And then we went in and purchased that membership account from that start after we got the account established. Now, one thing is for sure that you can do that. I mean, again, that same process will be applied anyway, whether it's a membership or a program. You're going to do the same kind of things as you go. The prompts are very similar all the way through the process. But again, you've now seen a kind of a big visual 30,000 feet up of how that works. Well, again, the more you get in the trainer and start kind of applying that, easier it'll get. And again, I encourage that, as we continue to go forward. The trainer database is, again, has a lot of information, that we'll start building up, just for, once we start getting more data into the live, once we get a lot more people getting ready to do trainings, we'll update that. And we'll use some more live data to be able to practice with. But again, all three of these, I think, were very important today to show you how we go through that process. Okay, well, that pretty much goes through how we went through that profile. And again, I'm going to open up the floor. Does anybody have any questions at all for me?